Welcome to Your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 727. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book but you need some help getting it done, you are in the right place. Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh. If you're looking for me online, look for Christine Inc., like that stuff we write with. Each day, I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 19 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn someone who barely sees themselves as a writer into a published book author. Those three things are, and my three pillars here on the show, writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. Booker T. Washington. And once again, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and a quick shout out here to my friends at Lion Share Co-work here in lovely Jacksonville, Florida. Really kind of saved my butt today because the old internet's not working at home, so I'm here in kind of like a little phone podcast booth, if it sounds a little bit different, because I'm not in my usual studio today. So big shout out to Lion Share Co-work here in Jacksonville, Florida. And once again, good morning and happy Monday. And you know, I've talked a few times here on the show about the value of outside accountability for your writing, whether through having a writing buddy or the support of a group of authors like my Inc. Authors group on Facebook. As proof of how true this is, let me tell you about one of the most popular things that I do with my author tribe, and it is virtual co-working. This is where my authors meet up in my Zoom room for a couple hours every week, and after we go around the room, taking stock of each person's goals and intentions for the session, everyone goes ahead and they mute their mic, they put their head down, and they get to work. 2 dedicated scheduled hours every week with the accountability of a group of fellow authors. And they tell me it's very motivating, especially when they look up at the screen, and again, everybody's muted, so nobody's disturbing anybody else's work. And they said it's very motivating to look up at the screen and see their fellow authors head down, hard at work, and it really drives them. They also like having at least one scheduled writing cave on their calendar every week that they can rely on. Again, every single week, those 2 hours they can rely on. It's just automated, as great habits are. 2 authors in one of my co-works who didn't previously know one another have actually formed the beginnings of a long-distance friendship based on their conversations at the beginning of their co-working session. So that was a nice surprise recently. And another author in my author group program admitted that during her hiatus from the group, she thought, and I'm putting that in air quotes, can you see my air quotes? She thought that she could continue on with her weekly writing cave habit that she'd established through our co-working, but she found that without the accountability of the group, her habit soon vanished. And unfortunately, so did her book writing momentum, so did the momentum on her project. So these are both true stories, friendships and losing momentum. Unfortunately, that second author did come back and her book momentum has been restored. And the important thing, of course, is to assess your writing habits and your resources and tools and what supports you and your book project. But if you do have doubts, especially listening to these little virtual co-working stories, if you do have doubts as to whether you might need added accountability in your book writing process, here are some questions to ask yourself to see how you might benefit. Question number 1. Are you feeling emotionally and mentally alone in the book writing process? Like you're dealing with stressors and obstacles and feel like maybe other authors aren't, or even if you realistically know that they probably are dealing with the same stresses that you are as an author, you still feel alone and frustrated with the solitude of working on your book. So that's the first question. Number 2. Are you having trouble keeping appointments with yourself to write your book, aka your scheduled writing caves? Despite your best intentions, are your writing sessions more optional than things that you must do to finish writing your book? That's a distinction I always make between optional or a must. And number 3, finally looking at your book writing process or book writing progress, overall, since you first started writing your book. Would you consider it mostly consistent with occasional pauses and blips, from life, of course, but mostly consistent? Or if your book writing progress was charted on a graph, would the constant peaks and valleys of working inconsistency look like a really bad, scary EKG. So which is it for you, consistency or a bad, scary EKG? So those are just 3 questions to consider that maybe you might benefit from the accountability of other authors. And if you are in need of some support to help you get your book done faster, please drop by my Inc. Authors group on Facebook and let us know. Just post and say, hey, I need some help getting my book written, and we'll find you a buddy of some sort, because who knows how many other group members are thinking the exact same thing. So let's pair up some writing buddies and let's get some books done for the remainder of the year here. Or if the virtual co-working I talked about today sounds interesting, again, head over to Inc. Authors and Facebook and ask me about that, and I'll give you the details on how to get hooked up with my Writers Club Live group program, which includes 2 hours of dedicated virtual co-working every single week. So I hope that puts some nice productive thoughts in your head about getting your book done faster and maybe a little bit more painlessly by getting some writing buddies and some accountability from a group. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And I would so appreciate it if you could subscribe to this podcast wherever you happen to be listening and leave a review. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, happy writing.